Are you baffled as to how one of the most powerful countries in the world, China, could face such a dramatic economic downturn? This video shall explain how the government's actions and policies have contributed to their current economic situation. Hi everyone, welcome to Simply Economics. If you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let us explore the root causes of why China's economy has gone into a downward spiral and discuss some possible solutions for them moving forward. We shall be discussing various government policies that have had an effect on both domestic and foreign investment in China, as well as potential ways these policies can be changed or reversed to bring back healthy economic growth. China's rise as an economic power. China's economy was very poor, stagnant, and centrally controlled before economic reforms and trade liberalization that began nearly 40 years ago. China was also very inefficient and relatively isolated from the global economy. However, since China opened up to foreign trade and investment and implemented free market reforms in 1979, the country's economy has become one of the world's fastest growing. Real annual gross domestic product, or GDP growth, has averaged 9.5% through 2018, which the World Bank describes as the fastest sustained expansion by a major economy in history. China's significant growth has resulted in doubling its GDP every 8 years and assisted in lifting about 800 million people out of poverty. China is currently the world's largest economy, based on purchasing power parity basis, manufacturer, merchandise trader, and foreign exchange reserves holder. Consequently, China has become a significant business ally of the United States. Made in China 2025. The Chinese government has emphasized the importance of innovation in its economic planning by launching various initiatives, including Made in China 2025. This plan was introduced in 2015 and aims to improve and modernize China's manufacturing in 10 crucial industries with significant government support. The goal is to establish China as a prominent global player in those sectors. There are concerns that China's industrial policies aimed at reducing dependence on foreign technology may result in excluding foreign companies from China and lead to dominating global markets. China's economy is in trouble post-COVID pandemic. China is facing challenges in recovering from the economic impact of the coronavirus pandemic. The country is struggling with increasing debts and reduced consumer spending, which is slowing down its progress. The situation is a crucial moment for the United States as the outcome could have significant consequences. Policymakers in Washington and finance professionals in New York are closely observing how Beijing responds to the current issue, as the economies of the US and China are extensively linked. The concern is whether this will be a brief setback or an expanding crisis which could affect the entire world. Although diplomatic relations are strained between the two countries, business relationships continue. Recently, top executives such as Elon Musk from Twitter and Tesla, Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan, and Tim Cook from Apple have visited China, possibly in an effort to provide reassurance. China is experiencing an economic slowdown. In 2019, China's economy was already slowing down, partly due to trade policies introduced by the Trump administration. The emergence of the virus made things worse by disrupting manufacturing and confining people to their homes. Although life is returning to normal in China, its economy is still facing significant challenges. Despite its reputation as a global powerhouse, there are indications of problems emerging. Under President Xi Jinping's tenure, China solidified its position as a manufacturing powerhouse and simultaneously reduced poverty among its citizens. China's gross domestic product was $8.5 trillion in 2012, and by the end of Xi's second term in 2022, it had surged to $18.5 trillion, indicating remarkable growth of over 100%. The Chinese economy's growth rate was 4.5% in the first quarter of the current fiscal year, which was an improvement from the previous year's growth rate of 3%. However, it did not meet the 5% growth target set by Beijing. Although the U.S. economy grew by only 1.3% in the first quarter of 2023, some experts believe that the recent slowdown in China's economy could reveal underlying issues that were previously hidden due to China's secluded leadership style. Local debt crisis on the horizon. In 2008 and 2009, China permitted municipalities to utilize local government funding vehicles, or LGFV, to secure loans for funding infrastructure projects. The repayment of this debt depended primarily on the revenue generated by a prospering real estate market, which mostly benefited the inland regions that were distant from the overdeveloped coasts. This was considered a risky strategy from the beginning, but now it is riskier than ever. Analysts from Goldman Sachs have also noted that there are increasing risks, particularly for less developed inland regions. It's estimated that the total debt owed by LGFVs is an enormous $8 trillion. Last year, the Chinese government under Xi announced a 16-point plan to revive the sluggish real estate market. The aim was to boost municipal revenues and prevent the collapse of LGFVs. However, these measures have not been successful. Real estate market experiences a decline. The real estate industry is very important for China's economy as it makes up around 25% of the gross domestic product. In comparison, the real estate industry only accounts for 17% of the gross domestic product in the United States. Due to the prolonged period of zero COVID in China, the real estate market, along with other sectors of the economy, faced disruptions caused by lockdowns and intensive surveillance measures implemented to combat the coronavirus. However, the market is now recovering. Unfortunately, the latest update shows that the recovery has not been successful. Residential sales have decreased by almost 15% compared to April. An analyst from Bloomberg recently evaluated the real estate sector as still sick, indicating that the overall situation has worsened. Corruption and the relative lack of the rule of law. The rule of law in China is not well established, which has resulted in various issues like government corruption, financial speculation, and improper handling of investment funds. The success of firms in China depends more on government connections rather than market forces in most cases. American companies face challenges while doing business in China due to inconsistency and non-transparency in rules and regulations, difficult enforcement of contracts, and absence of protection for intellectual property rights, mainly because of the unavailability of an independent judicial system. In China, the limited rule of law and prevailing corruption in the government pose hindrances to competition and efficient allocation of resources. The country maintains a weak and relatively decentralized government structure to regulate economic activity. The enforcement of laws and regulations is often neglected or disregarded by local officials, which tempts many businesses to prioritize profit over compliance. Consequently, the market is flooded with hazardous food and consumer goods that are sold in China or shipped overseas. Investors are becoming less interested in China's big tech firms. Tencent and Alibaba have reported a decline in revenue in the latest quarter, with Tencent's profits dropping by 50% and Alibaba's net income falling by half. This drop is believed to be influenced by a 2-year-long regulatory crackdown on China's tech giants. The unemployment rate among young workers in China is a cause for concern, with 1 in 5 aged 16 to 24 without work. This could affect China's productivity and growth in the future. Also, there is a growing perception that Beijing is favoring state-owned companies, as some of the private ones have faced increased scrutiny under President Xi's leadership. This has led foreign investors to take their money out of China. Ongoing U.S.-China tensions serve as a reminder for investors who supported Russian companies. Billions of dollars disappeared when Russian President Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, resulting in Western sanctions. The situation is made more complex by Washington considering further limitations on U.S. investment in China, which would add to export controls that restrict China's access to crucial technologies like advanced semiconductors and chip-making equipment. The situation is getting worse due to climate change. Extreme weather is starting to have a lasting impact on China's industries. China's economic growth model has emphasized the growth of heavy industry in China, much of which is energy-intensive and highly polluting. The level of pollution in China continues to worsen, posing serious health risks to the population. The Chinese government often disregards its own environmental laws in order to promote rapid economic growth. In addition, the Chinese economy is facing other environmental risks due to global climate change. Likewise, the increasing temperature in China has an adverse effect on agriculture and water availability. This situation not only affects the agricultural sector, but also restricts economic growth potential due to reduced productivity. According to recent surveys, Beijing residents are increasingly concerned about air quality and access to clean drinking water, which could further dampen consumer confidence. Consumer confidence is low. The way regular people spend money on various things like condos, phones, and dining out reflects their perception of their own financial situation. Similarly, businesses may hold off on new investments if they feel that the economic conditions are not in their favor or are uncertain. Regarding this matter, China's current situation is not favorable. The business confidence experienced a significant drop after a difficult 2022, and as reported by Pepsi's chief financial officer Hugh Johnston in an interview with Reuters last month, consumer confidence is still weak and uncertain. Many foreign investors are leaving China, which is a negative indicator. However, most analysts have faith that Chinese enterprises and consumers will reclaim their trust and that the government will support other economic sectors. Although this process may take years, it is hoped that China will regain its pre-pandemic strength. The economic outlook for China is uncertain and ever-changing. The effects of the virus, government policies, environmental changes, and other factors are difficult to predict. It is clear that Beijing needs to reassess its economic strategies in order to revive the economy and make it more resilient against future challenges. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future content. We truly appreciate your support. See you in the next one.